The Echoes of Evergreen. In the heart of a small town named Evergreen, nestled between towering mountains and a sprawling forest, lived two individuals who couldn't have been more different yet perfectly complementary. Kian was a wanderer at heart. A skilled photographer, he roamed from town to town, capturing the untold stories of people, places, and nature. Though his pictures were breathtaking, Kian often felt like an outsider, as if he belonged nowhere and everywhere at the same time. He lived out of a backpack, content with the thrill of the journey, but burdened by the absence of roots. Ayla, on the other hand, had spent her entire life in Evergreen. She was a botanist and a quiet dreamer who found her purpose in the forest's mysteries. Her days were spent cataloging rare plants, preserving their secrets, and protecting the environment. Ayla's love for her town was fierce, but deep down, she longed for an adventure that would take her beyond the forest she knew so well. The first encounter one fateful summer afternoon, Kian wandered into Evergreen, drawn by rumors of an ancient, uncharted part of the forest that locals whispered about. He visited the town's tiny library to research and bumped into Ayla, who was delivering a lecture on the ecosystem's fragility. He stayed through her talk, captivated not only by her knowledge, but by the quiet fire in her voice. Afterward, he approached her, explaining his goal to explore the hidden part of the forest and document its beauty. That part of the forest is sacred, Ayla warned. It's dangerous, too. Few who've gone there have returned unscathed. Sounds perfect, Kian replied with a grin that both irritated and intrigued her. Reluctantly, Ayla agreed to guide him. The journey begins. They ventured into the heart of the forest the next day, Kian carrying his camera gear, and Ayla armed with her botany tools and a notebook. The deeper they went, the more surreal the forest became. Trees seemed to hum with life, their leaves shimmering in unnatural shades of green. Flowers glowed faintly in the twilight, and the air was thick with the scent of something ancient and unnameable. At first, their differences clashed. Kian's spontaneity frustrated Ayla, who relied on careful planning. Ayla's cautious nature annoyed Kian, who preferred to dive headfirst into the unknown. Yet, as days turned into weeks, they began to learn from each other. Uncovering secrets, they stumbled upon a hidden grove filled with flowers Ayla had only read about in myths. In the grove's center stood a crystal-clear pool that shimmered with iridescent colors. Legends spoke of the pool granting visions to those who dared to look into its depths. Kian, eager as always, leaned over the pool's edge. Ayla hesitated but eventually joined him. As they gazed into the water, images unfolded, visions of their pasts, their futures, and a bond they hadn't realized they were forming. Kian saw a vision of himself rooted in a place that felt like home, while Ayla saw herself traveling the world with a companion who made her laugh as much as he made her dream. The turning point. The visions left them shaken but deeply connected. Over the next few days, they opened up to each other. Kian shared his fear of settling down and losing his freedom, while Ayla confessed her yearning to see the world beyond Evergreen, but not knowing how to leave. Their bond grew as they faced challenges, storms that tested their endurance, wild animals that forced them to trust each other, and the haunting beauty of the forest that seemed to challenge their very identities. The return. When they finally returned to Evergreen, they were forever changed. Kian found himself drawn to the town's warmth and the sense of belonging he'd always sought. Ayla, inspired by Kian's stories of the world, decided to take her first steps beyond the forest, with Kian promising to show her everything he'd seen. They spent the following months together, blending their lives seamlessly. Kian taught Ayla the art of photography, while she showed him the magic of truly knowing a place. Together, they planned trips to far-off lands, but Evergreen remained their anchor. A new beginning. Years later, their work together, his photographs and her botanical research, became renowned, blending art and science in ways that inspired countless others. They built a home in Evergreen, a place where the world's beauty came to them and where their love continued to grow, as enduring as the ancient forest that had brought them together.